In a letter to the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings, tonight, refusing to turn over any documents related to Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump's security clearances, the White House counsel wrote, the committee has failed to point to any authority establishing a legitimate legislative purpose for the committee's unprecedented and extraordinary intrusive demands, including the demand to examine the entire investigative files of numerous individuals whom the president has chosen as his senior advisors. As I have explained in multiple previous letters, it is clearly established as a matter of law that the decision to grant or deny a security clearance is a discretionary function that belongs exclusively to the executive branch. Joining us now, John Brennan, former CIA director. He is now a senior national security and intelligence analyst for MSNBC and NBC News. What is at stake in this security clearance controversy between the House and the White House?
Well, I think the integrity of the system, the security clearance process, is at stake. If the reports are true, it sounds as though Donald Trump overruled the determination that was made by the intelligence community that neither Ivanka Trump nor Jared Kushner should receive a security clearance. It is unheard of that a president of the United States would intervene in that process.
Can I just stop you right there? When you say unheard of, in your decades of government service, you personally have never heard of a president doing this.
I've never even heard of a president talking about the security clearance of an individual, much less overruling the determination that was made. So this is something that is unprecedented. And the fact that he did that, Donald Trump, I think the Congress has legitimate concerns about how he is, in fact, exercising a legal authority, but doing it in a manner that really undermines, again, the integrity and the purpose of security clearances.
What are the reasons that security clearances for someone like Jared Kushner or Ivanka Trump would be held up? What would be the kind of objections that would be raised?
It could be any number of things, and I don't know the facts here, but there could be some unresolved issues about foreign entanglements, particularly financial entanglements, or episodes where an individual was not deemed to be trustworthy with information, or relationships, foreign relationships that were not revealed in the security clearance process in terms of interviews. It's not surprising, given the nature of their financial and business relationships that are ongoing, in fact, that they were denied. Quite frankly, I don't believe that Donald Trump would have, except for getting more electoral votes than Hillary Clinton, would have been approved for a security clearance, given those foreign entanglements and cavalier treatment of classified information.
So what are the kinds of things that hold up a security clearance at this level? How nitpicky is it? Can it be something like, you know, we think he didn't tell us the exact truth about the last time he smoked marijuana in college, or does it have to rise to a certain level to be a problem?
I think, especially for somebody who's going to be in the White House as at the level of assistant to the president, you want to make sure that you do everything possible to try to resolve any outstanding issues. But something like that, you know, in terms of not acknowledging, you know, smoking a marijuana or something, is not going to hold up that clearance. It would have to be something substantial and something that the CIA, the really were concerned about, because it could potentially compromise an individual, either because a foreign person or entity might try to use that relationship inappropriately, or that the person who is being granted the security clearance or being under consideration might in fact be mindful of those personal interests that they might pursue contrary to U.S. national security. So the investigators take their jobs very, very seriously. I have worked closely with them over the years, and they will do everything possible to get to the bottom of an issue. And if they deny it, if they outright deny it, as opposed to continuing to try to resolve the issue, there must be something substantial and significant.
Based on what you've seen of Michael Cohen's public testimony, knowing that he's going into the House Intelligence Committee again tomorrow for yet another closed-door session, did you, in listening to Michael Cohen's public testimony, did you hear of things that you would want to be explored in the private hearings with the Intelligence Committee?
Oh, absolutely. And as the Congressman just said, in the private meetings, without the glare of the cameras, there is much more substantive discussion, and there's not the theatrics that takes place in the open hearings. And so there were a lot of very tantalizing tidbits of you know, discussion that came up in the open hearing.
What tantalized a former CIA director the most?
Well, I think there are probably things that couldn't be discussed even in the closed hearing, which is that these are matters under investigation by the Southern District of New York. Clearly, there's other investigative threads being pulled out of concern that there was criminal activity taking place. And so I'd want to hear more from Michael Cohen about some of his personal interactions with Donald Trump during the campaign and even subsequent to the election, and find out exactly what was the nature of those discussions. But again, I think the special counsel's team has counseled Michael Cohen not to get involved in issues that are still very much a matter of criminal investigation.
Are you one who's willing to, at this stage of the game, venture a guess about where Robert Mueller is in his process and how close he is to filing a report? And beyond that, what you would expect from such a report?
Well, I think Robert Mueller wants to be able to conclude his work and turn over the investigative threads to the Southern District of New York, the Eastern District of Virginia, and other jurisdictions as appropriate, as we're coming up to 2 years. So I think he does want to conclude that. I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, this week on Friday, not knowing anything about it, but Friday is the day that the grand jury indictments come down. And also this Friday is better than next Friday, because next Friday is the 15th of March, which is the Ides of March. And I don't think Robert Mueller will want to have that dramatic flair of the Ides of March when he is going to be delivering what I think are going to be his indictments, the final indictments, as well as the report that he gives to the Attorney General.
What makes you believe that he has more indictments?
Because he hasn't addressed the issues related to criminal conspiracy, as well as any individuals.
Criminal conspiracy involving the Russian influence?
Russians, yes, yeah. I think it was very, in terms of American person, U.S. persons.
That's an area you know something about. That investigation was developing while you were still on the job.
Well, it was, in terms of looking at what was going on with the Russians and whether or not U.S. persons were actively collaborating, colluding, cooperating, and involved in a conspiracy with them or not. But also if there's going to be any member of the Trump family. Did you see enough
at that stage to believe that there would now that would result in indictments once investigated?
I thought at the time that there was going to be individuals who were going to have issues with the Department of Justice. Yes, and I think we've already seen a number of individuals who have been indicted, either have pled guilty or have been convicted now. So, again, I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm not talking with anybody in the special counsels.
Yes, you do. You have the inside knowledge
but not about the status of the
began
investigation right now. Yeah. But I do think also if anybody from the Trump family, an extended family, is going to be indicted, it would be in the final act of Mueller's investigation, because Bob Mueller, and I think he knows that if he were to do something, indicting a Trump family member, or if he were to go forward with indictment on criminal conspiracy involving U.S. persons, that would basically be the death knell of the special counsel's office, because I don't believe that Donald Trump would allow Bob Mueller to continue in the aftermath of those types of actions.
John Brennan, thank you very much. You have to listen to every word in the John Brennan answer. Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it.